This city could one day be gone. And this is how it would happen. Today's video is on water, ice, wind, heat, chemistry, and biology. And how they ruin everything. Get it? Ruin? Sorry. Now, water has a very unique property. When it freezes, it expands. I read that it expands by about 9%, but being a skeptical guy, I decided I'd test it for myself. So I got about 50 milliliters of water and I froze it, and in the end I had a rough estimate of around 54 milliliters, which if you do the math is about 8%. Okay, I trust these guys. And on a warm winter day like today, the snow is gonna melt, the water is gonna seep into the cracks of my patio, and overnight it's gonna freeze, expanding 9%, making that crack in the patio ever so slightly bigger. And it'll continue to happen, night after night, year after year, millennia after millennia. And this is the first way to make a city disappear. You just have to let water turn to ice. Heat, oddly enough, does the same thing. Materials expand when they get hot because their atoms start to move faster and get further apart. And that's why they put expansion joints in bridges to account for expanding concrete and steel. But imagine you're a rock on a hot day. You don't have expansion joints, so if your outer layer gets hot from the sun but your inner layer stays cool and calm, you might just crack. Or even worse, you could exfoliate, like the outermost layers of rock on the beautiful Half Dome in Yosemite National Park. You know, I was up there once when my friend slipped and fell on the sand and gravel made by the Freeze-Thaw Cycle and exfoliation. The guy almost fell off the side of the cliff. Oh boy, he got lucky. So heat is also working against buildings and cities. What comes next? Life comes next. Nature has many ways to plant seeds, from squirrels burying acorns to wind, and even to bear poop. And where there's space for plants to grow, they will grow. And don't underestimate the strength of plants and trees. They are rock and concrete killers. They can pummel even the strongest materials, turning them into dust. This is Pripyat, a city abandoned in 1986 during the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. If you take a look at it, you see that nature is clearly taking over. So you're telling me plants and animals are also trying to break down cities and buildings? That's it, right? If only it were that simple. And now it's time for the silent but deadly monument killer, acid rain. To be fair, Earth's water is naturally acidic. It contains carbonic acid, which tends to dissolve rocks like limestone when it flows through it, forming caves and sinkholes. Hey! I was looking at my phone and fell in a sinkhole! Can anybody help me? I got some hydrochloric acid from a friend, and I'm gonna put it on some limestone rock and you can see what happens for yourself. And this is what carbonic acid does to rock, but on steroids. And if you want to wait and watch this happen and see a cave form, you're just gonna have to wait like 3 to 4 million years or so. There's also acid rain caused by human pollution, which makes nitric and sulfuric acids that tend to weather away things made of marble, like statues. So ice, heat, plants, acid, they all tend to break down cities and rocks over huge amounts of time. But for a city to fully disappear, you need to take that debris and get it out of there. And now it's time for wind, water, and ice to do their job. Erosion. Glaciers are slow-moving rivers of ice that grind the earth down and carry it away. Look at this U-shaped valley. A glacier did that. It literally tore a hole through a mountain range. Here's a creek fed by a glacier, absolutely filled with silt and sand, converging with a creek fed by melting snow and rain. Water that comes from melting snow and rain carries away a lot of material, but glaciers are next level. Still, I love rivers and what they do. They not only carry sand and silt to the sea, but they carve canyons and smooth rocks, one grain of sand at a time. And if you want to be like a river, all you really have to do is get yourself a rock tumbler. You just add sand, water, and rocks, turn it on, and tumble. And you can be just like a river or the ocean, where waves pummel the seashore, carving out cliffs and polishing rocks. You can think of the ocean as the world's largest rock tumbler. And just imagine if these waves somehow made their way into a city. Those buildings wouldn't stand a chance. And this brings us to our final destroyer of cities, wind. When it picks up sand, it can carve sculptures, it can move mountains. It's basically nature's Van Gogh. The truth is, cities don't stand a chance unless we protect them, rebuild them, and do our best to mitigate the processes of weathering and erosion. Otherwise, they will one day be gone. And how do I know this? because even mountain ranges don't stand a chance. The Rocky Mountains behind me are the second mountain range to be in this particular location. Geology tells us that weathering and erosion made the first Rockies disappear. And you can see this in the Appalachian Mountains, which once stood as tall as the Himalaya in Asia, now just a shadow of their former selves. Weathering and erosion are two of the most powerful processes on Earth. And while they bring destruction, they bring beauty as well. I'm Dave, and I hope you enjoyed this video.